Just like Aaron Grisham in the YouTube chat, we open the show by acknowledging our tribal chief who has returned for the third time since WrestleMania 40. And if it's anything like Michael Jordan's third return, Andy, I hope it works out a little better for him. Welcome to Squared Circle Radio. We are live following a jam-packed Monday Night Raw from Madison Square Garden. That's the Young Buck, Andy York, and my name is Chris Belcher. We appreciate you being with us, especially if this is your first time. You have come to the right place. This is the show that is for the fans, by the fans. We're just a couple of wrestling fans shooting the breeze on the road to WrestleMania. It is heating up, as you see on the thumbnail, and as you see behind me, Andy. It's just a disclaimer for everybody that shows might get a little beefier, might get a little longer. There's just so much to talk about.
Yeah, we can't just fly through the shows anymore. Like we're in the the heat of the biggest time of the year for WWE and for wrestling. So there's a lot to cover. It seems like every week, and it seems like more and more coming out. And so yeah, it's just if you are a big wrestling fan and you are enjoying the road to WrestleMania or not enjoying the road to WrestleMania, this is the platform and the place you want to be to talk about it, because we both have enjoyed a lot of aspects of it, and there are some aspects that we are not huge fans of that we're going to talk about. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Hey, listen, if you're not enjoying the road to WrestleMania, just let them cook. Just hold your horses, because next week it'll probably be different. Something will probably change.
Except for one feud.
Except, well, that's fair. And we're going to get into that as well. All that to say, like the video, that's the thumbs up button. Hit the subscribe button. Again, 90% of our viewers not subscribed. Guys, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to the channel, especially, again, in this busy WrestleMania season. We drop lots of extra content during WrestleMania season, so make sure you are locked in here. And, of course, if you're listening on podcast, just follow on the platform of your choice. Andy, let's get into it. Let's not waste any more time. Our tribal chief has returned at the end of Monday Night Raw, and this is going to be a little bit of a theme throughout this show. The dirt sheets got it wrong yet again, Andy. They were reporting at the very last minute that Roman was not in the building and that he was not returning tonight. Well, guess what? Surprise, surprise. Papa H got you again. Roman Reigns is back, as we predicted. If you watched the show last week, we predicted that Roman would return Madison Square Garden, and Andy, what an impact he made.
Yeah. It was a definitely an impact that he made. It was a big moment. It was definitely different than most of the other times that he returns, because normally we get the entrance and the music drop and everything else. This time, he just ran out to the ring and instantly started going after Seth Rollins, which I really enjoyed. I love that Roman is back. Obviously, we have our thoughts about the triple threat match, about whether it should happen or not. I like the finish, but I hate that it had to happen in this match, because this match was so good, and I get why, and everything that needed to happen. It absolutely needed to happen this way, so I get it, and I'm not upset about it. But part of me was like, yeah, Roman's here, but that there should have been a finish to that. Like that was a main event of Raw where you need to get a finish to a match. But where we're heading, who knows? I still think there could be a curveball in this whole situation where maybe we don't get a triple threat. Maybe, I don't know, they find a way to do Seth and Roman one night and Seth and Roman one night and Punk and Rollins the next night, or whatever the case is. But I think it's going to be a very interesting road now that Roman is officially back.
I think those feelings, as far as what they might do for WrestleMania, at least in your case, and in some cases mine as well, is a little bit for selfish reasons, because we want to see in Punk's first WrestleMania match, we want to see something spectacular. We don't want to see a seemingly thrown together triple threat, because he had such a great year last year.
Yeah.
And as the Shield fan that you are, and the Roman and Seth fan that I am, we want to see a straight up one-on-one between these guys, because we haven't gotten, aside from the Rumble match, because it's soured with a finish, we haven't gotten a true one, especially on the WrestleMania stage. So I get that. I'm here for this triple threat. And and it sold me more on it tonight. I'm like you. I wanted to see more of a finish in this match, but I do get obviously why they couldn't do it. But Andy, I'll go back to the Royal Rumble that we were in attendance for, by the way. And if you haven't checked out our vlog on the YouTube channel, please go do that. I'll link it right here. Please go make sure you do that. But at the Royal Rumble, Andy, the camera shot of Seth Rollins starting to get up and Roman right behind him, the way they shot that was just brilliant. So seeing that makes me want to see that match. But Andy, they did it again tonight. When I don't know how Heyman snuck into the ring. Heyman sneaks into the ring and he's comforting CM Punk. And then Roman turns around and he sees it.
Yeah.
The way they shot that with the look on Roman's face, bro. I mean, like the storytelling, we talk about Roman storytelling without using words all the time. That was just at its peak level at the Rumble and tonight.
Yeah. And I completely agree. But again, each interaction makes me excited for the one-on-one, not the triple threat. Because, like, the interaction at the Rumble, when I saw those two together, first thing that went through my mind is, how have these two never had a one-on-one match at WrestleMania?
Yeah.
Like, this feels like this could be one of those matches where it's like we're destined to do this forever. Like, it should be one of those feuds that we get.
Like Punk and Drew.
Like Punk and Drew, like Cena and Orton, even like to an extent, Austin and Rock. Like there are feuds that Triple H and Shawn Michaels, in a way, like we're destined to do this forever, and that's Seth and Roman. So like all these individual moments are awesome and they're great, but like tonight when Heyman was in the ring, that got me real excited to see Roman and Punk together and talk about that issue. Seth feels like an outsider. And then you have the stomps on the outside to Seth, and you get that cool shot of Roman and Seth on the outside. Punk feels like an outsider. All the stuff between Seth and Punk, Roman feels like an outsider. So it feels like we have three really great opportunities, like three really great one-on-one matches that are absolutely WrestleMania worthy. But we're throwing it all together for one match. And again, it's going to be a great match. Like I think the in-ring stuff is going to be fantastic. The story they may tell will be amazing going into it. But it just makes me think, what if this was like a one-on-one? Like what if we got just Seth and Punk at WrestleMania inside Hell in a Cell? Or if we got Seth and Roman at WrestleMania finally going at it? What if we got Roman and Punk at WrestleMania finally going at it? So there's so many options for this.
And my brother Bryce is in the chat. Shout out to all of you who are watching live. Drop your comments and questions in the chat. We will get to as many of those as we can. He says maybe a stip match of sorts for the three-way at WrestleMania. I'm with him. Like we speculated last week. I mean, I've long thrown out Drew, Punk, Rollins, Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania. I think is in the triple threat. You could do that here. Maybe that's a little too far, but I think, Andy, to Bryce's point about a stipulation and to your point about what the in-ring stuff is going to be, I honestly think by the end of WrestleMania, we're all going to be satisfied with what we've got. Like they're going to make us be satisfied, especially if tonight was any indication, because like you said, man, this steel cage match, we essentially, because Punk left, we were robbed for 10 years of this match. It was so freaking good tonight. It really was, man.
Yeah, and I remember on this podcast the night of the first episode of Raw on Netflix when they went one-on-one.
Yes.
We all talked about how the match itself was amazing, like really good, but it felt like there could have been more. Yes. And that's a perfect build to these, three matches that you do or having matches you do. The first one sets the stage. The second one has to top it. The third one has to be the crescendo that ends it all.
Yep.
And if this is the middle piece that we got between these two, that's part of the reason why I'm like, these two at Mania inside Hell in a Cell will be up there with like, and I know you're probably going to throw stones at me, up there with like Undertaker and Triple H's Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania.
Or like that's a fantastic match.
Some of the other ones, I think it could get to that point. So whenever these two lock up one more time, one-on-one, it's going to be the big one that we talk about, much like the Drew Punk segment. But yeah, this match, you could just tell from how the crowd is. I mean, you're in Madison Square Garden. and it's a steel cage match. And I love that throughout the night they hyped not only Raw steel cage matches, but it was like steel cage matches televised in the Garden. Like this made it feel like such a big fight, and I loved it.
I mean, it was vicious. It really was. Like they just, especially for the first like 10 minutes of the match or whatever it was, just throwing hands. And Michael Cole kept reiterating the fact nobody's gone for a pin yet. Nobody's gone. Like it's so good, man.
No wrestling moves. Like they just started. They were just. It was a war as soon as they got in.
It really was. And when they climbed up to the top of the cage and they were doing those fantastic drone shots, kudos to WWE for that. But when they were fighting up at the top of the cage, man, they just made it look so effortless up there. Like from the drone shot that we saw with Punk crotching himself on the top, like I couldn't tell that his legs were in the position to be able to do that. So when he hit it, I was like, oh man, oh, that's so good. Yeah. And then when he kicked Rollins and he started swinging, I was like, I didn't even know Rollins was in that position. It was so good, man. Like these two guys, that's what I mean by we were robbed of this for 10 years. The instant chemistry that these guys have is so good, dude. It's so good. Yeah. Like I want to see them literally fight forever.
Yeah, I mean this had an old school steel cage match and a new era flair at the same time.
Yep.
Like it's sometimes we get these steel cage matches where like they're trying to sell it as a blood feud or whatever, and you just don't get that feeling. You got it with these guys, and they did such a great job that at one point my wife is sitting there going, I think Seth is really trying to hit him with that screw in the corner to make him bleed. Like I think like she was like, Seth needs to calm down a little bit. So I was like, yeah, like this. They do a great job of blurring the lines between these two and getting that real emotion out. And then all of a sudden, like the crowd at one point, they were massive for Punk, and then Rollins started to win him over at the same time. And it was just, it was a perfectly done steel cage match for TV.
Yep, it really was. We have a lot to talk about with this feud, obviously over the next 40 days or so leading into WrestleMania, no matter which direction it goes. So make sure you keep it locked in right here. As I say all the time, I've got pages of notes here, but you guys drive the conversation in the comments. Let's get to one more comment before we move on here. My brother Bryce hanging out with us. He says, I think Paul Heyman's angle for whatever comes out of this is going to play a major role. Yes, completely agree. There's also been lots of speculations about Punk's favor. Is that going to tie into this? Heyman clearly showing allegiance to CM Punk tonight, but Roman is his tribal chief. So how does all that go? We speculated back at the Royal Rumble, Andy, that maybe Heyman turns on turns on Roman in favor of Punk, and maybe Punk turns heel that way. I don't know if you have to look at it right now. I'm not saying make a definitive answer or a definitive prediction, but how does Paul Heyman sort of end up with this whole thing? Like, what does it look like over the next couple of weeks as Heyman is trying to find his way through this feud?
Yeah, I think Paul Heyman is going to play a major role in all of this, but I think whatever the big turn is going to happen at WrestleMania. And then we get the next chapter of the Paul Heyman storyline going into like the second half of the year to kind of tell it from there. Selfishly, and I think this is kind of where they're turning Punk heel and having him and Heyman go back together, I think is a moneymaker decision in and of itself. Mm-hmm. And to have them go at it, plus you get more of, you could kind of do 3 more matches with Seth and Punk at that point of Seth saying, well, you had to join Heyman to get the win, and we never really got to do this all on our own. You have Roman's beef from it all. The one that is very intriguing that I didn't really think about until now is if Paul Heyman gets fed up on the road to WrestleMania and somehow, because we've seen it before, his plan B comes out and it's not Punk and it's not Roman, but him and Rollins align themselves together somehow.
Wow. Okay, that's fun.
Like that's the one that it's like nobody would see it coming if it did happen.
We've sort of speculated on this podcast, at least Jared has when he's on the show. He has said, just turn Rollins heel already. Like it's like he's dancing on the line anyway, turn him heel. Yeah. It would be a fantastic way to book it. I'm always a proponent of Paul Heyman being with somebody who's not necessarily not a great talker, but needs a mouthpiece. Rollins certainly doesn't need a mouthpiece, but I can definitely see, like you said, it's the plan B. Triple H says there's always a plan B. Paul Heyman's, it writes
We're only in
itself.
the 4th inning.
That's true. That's true. And we are only in the 4th inning. We'll take you all the way to the 9th inning, though, here on Squared Circle Radio, all the way to the end. We're going to keep it locked in right here, catching you up on all the news and covering everything. So subscribe to the channel if you have already. We would appreciate it. All right, Andy, a couple of quick hitters from Monday Night Raw before we move on, because it was a loaded SmackDown on Friday. Lots of things to get to. But before we get there, let's talk about what you tweeted about during Monday Night Raw, what you and I have been just preaching to the cows come home. And apparently WWE is not listening. So WWE, join the viewership here on the show, whether you're the 90% that's not subscribed, or if you want to subscribe, that would mean so much as well. Jey Uso, for the cajillionth time, gets choked out and beaten down by Gunther in his appearance on Monday Night Raw. Andy, we have been begging and begging for something different, and they're just not listening. Why, Andy? Why are they not listening? Like, I get that we want it's going to be a big moment when Jey finally gets his on Gunther. Like, I know that's what they're building for, whether that happens at WrestleMania or not. But like, dude, enough is enough.
Yeah, I get the feeling that they didn't have this one as fleshed out as a lot of the other feuds they have going on.
And that's your Royal Rumble winner.
Right. And I think that's part of it, is maybe Jey winning. Maybe it happened as early as December, as some of the reports, or whenever the case is. But I feel like the story they're trying to tell, and like you said, I get it to an extent, is that they're trying to make Jey feel like this big baby face. Because even on commentary, Michael Cole says how many times that nobody is giving him a chance to beat Gunther at WrestleMania, and blah, 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 blah. It's the same spiel every single week as he's getting power bombed or choked out or whatever is happening to him in the ring. Yeah. But at some point we have to switch the story or add another layer to this story, because it's the same thing every single week, to the point where, I don't remember the last time Jey came out and just cut an impassioned promo. Like, maybe Nashville, but then he got jumped there too. So like, I don't know the last time that Jey came out and cut a promo and it didn't end with him.
Was it last week after he got jumped? He cut one backstage, which was good, amazing, but not in front of the live crowd, like you're saying.
Yeah, like if we can get one of those promos in the middle of the ring, and then maybe have him get the advantage on Gunther every once in a while.
Yeah.
Or, find a way to hit a move, Gunther doesn't go down, but then you just bail from the ring. Like, there's something different than just the normal, hey, we have a match, whether Gunther wrestles or Jey wrestles, it ends with Jey going down and taking a beating, which it looks like next week's Raw is probably going to end somewhat similar, because Jey Uso is facing Austin Theory. So I could see the same exact thing happening, or I could see Jey kind of turning the tables a little bit. But we need something different, because we begin the same thing for like the last 5 weeks. We need something different going into WrestleMania.
Yep, we do. I don't know what that is. I don't know. I'm at a loss. Like, I get the story they're trying to tell, but we need to get the powers that be together, all these creative forces. Triple H talks all the time about how they sit in creative meetings and just every idea is on the table and everything is wide open. He'll consider everything. Well, daggum, Road Dogg, Michael Hayes, Bruce Pritchard, somebody pitch me something different, because it's just not working for me. It's just not.
Like,
and I don't get it.
It's the same concept or the same story that we're telling of Daniel Bryan going into WrestleMania 30. Or Kofi Kingston going into WrestleMania 35. And the stories there were fantastic. Like, obviously, the story going into those WrestleMania and then the match itself delivered, and it was a great moment. Yep. With Jey, though, it feels like they are just trying to ride this storm out on his popularity, which is not going down. It's no matter what happens week to week, Jey Uso is still getting that massive pop, and the crowd's going crazy for him. But we need a reason to care. Like, we need even more of a reason to care about Jey Uso.
Yeah, and then Bryce just comments. He says if they play it right, Jay will do really well with the title if it happens. Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. He definitely will. And we all see that. I think he'll be a very good champion. It's just a matter of it's like we're just running through quicksand to get to WrestleMania because it's the same thing over and over. Just we would be so much more invested in Jey Uso if we got something different. And again, you mentioned a couple weeks ago, maybe a backstage interview where we look inside the troubled past of Jey Uso. I don't know if he has a troubled past or not, but surely to goodness they can come up with something. It just just give me a peek inside of who Jey Uso is to make me care about him more than just watching him get beat up.
Or
The
even
next
now,
yes,
have a moment between him and Roman. Like, have a moment between Jey Uso and Roman Reigns backstage of, them talking about Jay being beat up every week by Gunther and how, have him kind of go back to that past because there's always that story of Jay and Roman available too. So they have options. They just got to pick one other than spinning their wheels.
Eventually, is Sami Zayn or Jimmy Uso not going to help him every time he gets jumped? Like he's getting jumped, nobody's helping him. Like let's show some allies here. One more quick thing from Monday Night Raw. Again, we appreciate you guys being tuned in live. Let's get to this comment real quick. The Tamee Troll is back in the chat. Jay's promo work is normally not good, except 2 times after he went in the Rumble. That's true. He says, I think that's what holds him back. I can agree with that. Like Jay, he can get the fans behind him. And, he gets the yeet chance and all that. It gets the fans behind him. Okay. But I see the point that he's making there that he's not cutting the impassionate babyface promo that Cody Rhodes is, which we'll get to in a little bit.
Yeah.
Or he's not able to flip he has one gear. I think that's the comment's point there. He has one gear. And if that one gear is not working, it's not hitting.
Right. But then again, you see the backstage interview and you see that gear is is moving and working really well.
Sure.
We got to get that in front of a crowd. Like we need to get that raw emotion. The promo he cut after he won the Rumble was raw and authentic and real, and I loved it. We need to get back to that at some point going into WrestleMania.
Yep, for sure. All right, one more quick thing from Monday Night Raw, and this parlays into our SmackDown discussion that we're going to have. We saw the face-to-face confrontation tonight, literally slaps to the face as well, between the new Women's World Champion Io Sky, the former champion Rhea Ripley, and the upcoming challenger at WrestleMania, Bianca Belair. And Andy, we speculated that this is probably where they were headed. It definitely seems like that direction. But, man, I don't know about you. They were talking about Michael Cole was trying to sell the fact that EO's not an afterthought and blah, 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 blah. And after that promo, I wanted to see Rhea Bianca that much more. EO really did feel like an afterthought. That's just my opinion. She did feel like an afterthought there. Like she had to interject herself. But dude, the tension between Rhea and Bianca, I'm so disappointed it's not one-on-one.
I think that's the point though. Like, I think that's the story they were trying to tell tonight is EO felt like the afterthought.
Sure.
And then slapped the taste out of both of their mouths and made them realize, no, I'm the champ and I'm here. Like
right. I know.
You have to come here and you have to come through me. So I didn't mind it as in fact, it kind of got me more hyped for the triple threat itself. I'm also just a big EO fan. I love EO. I think she's underrated, but that's fine.
Well, she got a you deserve it chance tonight. So apparently 20,000 people Madison Square Garden does too.
Yeah. So I think I would have been more excited. It's again kind of like the Punk Rollins Roman thing of, the one-on-one would be great and it would be amazing. But if we get the triple threat is going to be amazing as well because you're talking about 3 of the best women's wrestlers in the world, and if not of all time, in Rhea, Bianca, and Io.
The in-ring product is going to be good. Yes, I agree. Again, we've been preaching Rhea versus Bianca for 4 years now. And we still haven't got it. They're going to make us wait even longer. All right. That being said, though, let's look back at Friday Night SmackDown because, Andy, we finally have some answers. Naomi admits that she is the one that attacked Jade Cargill. She starts bad mouthing Bianca. Well, that was the wrong thing to do, Andy, because then Jade Cargill shows up and just lays waste to Naomi in the center of the ring. Andy, we finally have answers, but is it what you, I don't want to say is it what we thought, because we sort of all assumed Naomi, but did it leave you with more questions? Like, I've got like 4 questions here that I'm about to rattle off that I'm like, okay, but now what?
Yeah, I don't think we're done with this even after WrestleMania. Like, I think we're gonna kind of keep this train rolling, because I'm still not ruling Bianca out as
Oh,
part of it. Like, I think this could have been a whole ploy to make Jade feel like Bianca wasn't part of it, and then when she finally turns at some point, we can get that match between those two. The segment itself between Naomi and Bianca was fantastic. It was done really well. They did a great job of getting that emotion across. I love the fact that Naomi said, "I did it for you." Like, that was definitely her father-in-law had some input on that on that promo, that part of the promo. But yeah, I thought it was done really well. But yes, I have a lot more questions than I do answers. But again, some of my questions were answered, and it leaves me with more questions. So they did their job in that fact. And they did a great job in like 2 weeks of reminding us, oh yeah, Jade Cargill's a threat and is a beast and is is like amazing when she gets in this mode. So I'm excited to see where they go from here.
I'm going to show a couple of pictures here if you're watching on our YouTube channel. By the way, if you're just listening on podcast, we are available on YouTube. So come check us out. Subscribe to the channel. Please do that. Let me show you a picture here from the Elimination Chamber. This is Jade Cargill's return as she is attacking Naomi. Notice, Andy, what we're wearing here. Jade Cargill is wearing black. Naomi is wearing white. We pointed this out on the Elimination Chamber post show because Bianca Belair was also wearing white. Let's fast forward to Friday Night SmackDown, where Jade Cargill makes her return. Jade is wearing white with seemingly blood splatter all over her. Love that getup. That was really, really cool. Nice touch. Bianca is over here wearing black. And what is Naomi wearing? Black. Andy?
Yep.
It just doesn't. It's lining up, like you just said, for Bianca to be involved and for us to go way past WrestleMania. Because my questions were like, did Naomi actually turn heel? Or is there a world where Jade and Bianca really are on the same page and they're the heels? Like, Bianca had a little attitude behind her tonight in this whole situation. So could they push that narrative just a little bit, especially since Io and Rhea are such big baby faces? Do they push that a little bit? And then we find out the alliance. Like, there's still a lot of ways we can go here.
Yeah, there's a lot of different directions this can still go in. And that's the fun of all of this, is not knowing exactly how this is going to end. Like, we know what it might look like, we know what it might seem like, but we don't know how it's going to end. So the story they're telling between these 3 ladies is amazing. It's very rare, which is unfortunate, that we get a good non-title women's feud. And
true.
it seems like this is going to be like the one that we're going to remember for a while, between Naomi and Jade. And then obviously Bianca has to get involved at some point, whether it's on the road to WrestleMania or post-Mania or whatever.
Sure.
But yeah, there's still 1,000 directions that this can go. And I'm excited to see what it is. I'm excited to see Jade finally get that singles push. I think it was important for her to be in that tag team for a while and get comfortable in the WWE system. But now that she can go out on her own, I think we know the sky's the limit for her. And so I'm excited to see where this time next year, where we are with Jade. I'm very excited to see that.
And that push would be no better than having a heel Bianca Belair as champion on the other side and have Jade chase her for the title. Like, it writes itself, ladies and gentlemen. Like, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to have watched this feud for a couple weeks and realize that Jade's a star in the making. Bianca was a star for the last couple of years. She's the one to help put Jade over. It's just, let's enjoy the ride and how we get there. One more question that I'm going to pose to you on this, and maybe they're just the scapegoats in the situation just because they can easily fit in. But how does Liv and Raquel tie into all this? Like, they were the ones who were apparently seen at the scene of the crime when Jade got attacked. So how do they fit into all this, do you think, as we move on down the road? I know they're women's tag champs. How do they fit in here?
I honestly don't think they fit in at all. Like, I think they were used to be the diversion of, like, yeah, Liv, it makes sense. They're the bad guys at Judgment Day. Of course, they were the ones that attacked Jade.
Yep.
And then Naomi is the one that did it. My question is, who was just filming Liv and Raquel backstage, like walking away from that area? That's what I'm wondering as well. But yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if they're used in some way. Maybe post Mania, Bianca is somewhat of a babyface still, and Jade and her try to go after the tag titles, and then we get Bianca's true intentions through that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I don't think they have a massive role in this, and I don't think they're going to play a big role in WrestleMania either.
I was about to wrap up this segment and move on because, again, it's going to be a loaded show as it's going to be for the next 40 days. I just had a thought, though, Andy, as you're going through all of that. Okay. What if we get to a point, hear me out here, literally just popped in my head, rolling with it here. What if we get to a point where Bianca does win the championship at WrestleMania? Okay. What if we get to a point where Jade and Bianca are going after those titles and Bianca is still the champion? And you said that Bianca's intentions become clear. What if Jade's intentions are the ones that become clear? And Jade and Naomi are the ones behind this, not Bianca. And Bianca ends up being the babyface with Jade being the heel.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a possibility, and I think that's a direction that could go. It makes the WrestleMania match that we get between them seem pointless in hindsight and going through.
Wait a minute. Who says we're getting it?
It's true.
Who says we're getting it? Like,
it's true. I'd be shocked if we didn't, but
okay, of course, me too. But this could be a situation where Jade puts Naomi on the shelf, like attacks her again, and they have nothing.
That's true. Yeah, I mean it's a possibility. I think that's absolutely a possibility because while Jade is a great babyface now, I think she'll be an even better heel. Just because of her personality and kind of who she is. I think she fits that heel role a lot better. Yep. But that would have, I mean, shoot, that's a lot of twisting and turning to do that. But I think it's something they could really do.
Yeah, it is for sure. It would be one we would remember, like you said. Looking for memorable things here. All right. Jade only needs one partner to take out 3 women. Oh, I missed the comment from Demetro before this. Bianca and Jade versus Liv, Raquel, and Naomi. I mean, yeah, especially if that's a good way to take out Naomi and figure that whole thing out for sure. If this is your first time checking us out, and again, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. It helps us so much. Drop a comment if you're watching live. Even if you're not watching live, make sure that you drop comments. We try to get to each and every one of those throughout the week. Got several new subscribers, several people commenting on past videos. We appreciate that so very much. Shout out to our partners, Sports Wire Radio and Wrestling Society Network. You'll hear from the Reverend Tom Bryce here in just a few minutes. Before we get there, though, Andy, speaking of turns and reveals, the whole world is still buzzing. John Cena is a heel. He's been a heel for over a week. Let that sink in. He has tweeted like twice, and nobody else has heard from him. But we do know, Andy, that he is advertised for next Monday on Raw, which is a special start time. So we'll talk about that towards the end of the show. But Cena advertised for Monday Night Raw. I don't know what to expect next week, but let's turn back to this week before we start speculating next week. Let's turn back because a lot of online chatter about how this whole thing came about. Andy, you know where I'm going with this. Lots of online chatter about how this whole heel turn came about. Was that really the initial plan? When did it happen? All of those kind of things. And for those of you who might not be familiar with what I'm talking about, Dave Meltzer essentially tweeted out that Rock's first choice to turn heel was Cody. and that Cody turned him down, that Cena was the backup plan, and that Cena's heel turn was scheduled for WrestleMania, and then they jumped it and made it happen at Elimination Chamber instead. Sean Ross Sapp confirmed those, said yes, that is correct. And then Brian Gewirtz says, nope, 0 for 2, boys. Andy, I know that we are fans of Sean Ross Sapp here. I know that we like to dunk on Dave Meltzer. I know that the dirt sheets, as our buddy Aaron Grisham put it in the chat earlier, let me scroll up and find it. The dirt sheets are fake news. Andy, I'm sure conversations were had, but what do you make of all that?
I don't believe it was day of the decision to turn Cena heel. Like, I don't think that's a decision you just make day of to turn John Cena heel. So I that part I don't believe. I mean, obviously the two options, even for us looking at the situation, was either Cody's turning heel or Cena's turning heel. Like,
Sure.
that's the top two options. So of course that idea was probably approached and brought to Cody. And I think that's a direction a lot of people probably thought this might be going in. Again, dirt sheets, I don't really care. Like, they're gonna get things right. They're gonna get a lot of stuff wrong. It is what it is. It depends on who you get it from. Again, like you said, I trust Sean Ross Sapp a lot more. I don't trust Dave Meltzer for anything. Most of the time, I don't believe half of what he says.
Right.
But I have a hard time believing that day of they decided to turn Cena heel, because that's what Dave said. Like, Dave said that it was made at Elimination Chamber day of to turn Cena heel. You don't make that big of a decision on a last second whim. Like, you just don't do that.
Yep. And probably it was talked about before that. And then the decision.
Yeah.
I mean, again, just speculating here, trying to give Dave the benefit of the doubt, which is very hard. I'm sure the conversations were had and maybe it was made day of, but no, like, I tend to believe, I said it last week, you don't even sniff this match. You don't even sniff this whole situation without clearing it with Cena first, probably as far back as when he announced the retirement tour at Money in the Bank last year. Like, this is monumental. John Cena, Mr. Hustle, loyalty and respect, make a wish, what have you, turning heel in his final run. Like, this was planned a long time ago. The other point that I'll make about dirt sheets, and I love dunking on the dirt sheets. They drive me absolutely up a wall, Andy, because I know they have a job to do and they report news and what have you. I just like to believe what's on my screen, and I like to be invested in what is on my screen. Like, as much as I want to know the inner workings of how this came about or whatever, I don't want you to ruin it for me, and I don't want you to all those kind of things. That being said, Andy, the reason I do believe Brian Gewirtz here, and I know that people have, said things about Brian Gewirtz. You've had your doubts about Brian. And it's fair. It's fair. Yeah. Everybody can lie, especially in the wrestling business. That's
Cody's great at it.
Yes, apparently so. He lied to Liberty. Why would you lie to Liberty? Anyway. So my point was going to be, that is, they can report all they want to, but an angle like this, there is a handful of people that know what's going to happen. There's a reason Triple H took control at the end of Elimination Chamber. There is a handful of people that knows Cena, Cody, Rock, probably Brian Gewirtz, Triple H. I would assume Bruce Pritchard or Michael Hayes is probably in there a little bit. They know enough to be dangerous. They might not know everything. But again, Andy, Nick Khan is in there. There is a handful, less than 10 people know how this story is playing out. I don't think any of those 10 people are talking, Andy. I don't. So how even Sean Ross Sapp or Dave Meltzer got their information, I don't believe it. I don't care how credible Sean Ross Sapp is in this situation. I believe none of it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think obviously WWE puts out stuff. I think AEW does. I think every wrestling promotion puts out what they want out. even
100%.
through leaks. They want to either, you know, swerve us one way or put out just enough information to keep fans from taking things over. Sometimes I think that's part of it. Again, I agree with you. I think if you're going to turn Cena heel, at the very latest, the decision to talk to Cena about it happens on the road to the Rumble. Like,
Yes.
at least that's like when you start to do that. Now, I wouldn't be shocked if this was the plan going into Elimination Chamber and they didn't finalize it until day of, because maybe Cena would have had second thoughts about it. You know, much like Hogan turning heel, he wasn't 100% in until he kind of
Yep.
did it, and then he went from there.
For
So I
sure.
could see that being part of it, but again, who cares? We got it. It was awesome. It was an amazing moment, and you know, I loved it.
Speaking of that Hogan heel turn in 1996, we compared Cena's heel turn to Hulk Hogan's last week. But Andy, there's another comparison, a Hulk Hogan comparison that has been floating around online this week. And I'm not going to tell you what it is. My brother from another mother, Jared Justice, sent us a video. He's going to drop some knowledge, and then we're going to come back on the other side and discuss it.
What's up, everybody? Couldn't be on the show today live with you all, so I figured I would send in some comments. I've been hearing everybody talking about this whole, of course, John Cena heel turn. And people are starting to compare it to kind of how that WrestleMania 3 and the build went down for that with Hogan and Andre. The title just came between them, man. One turned evil to try to get the title that he wanted and take it away from the other guy, even though they were friends before it all happened. So I just want to know what you all thought about the comparison everybody's been making. Just wanted to bring some Big Tom energy in here, say what's up, tell my baby happy birthday, love you, Tess, and I'll catch you guys down the road.
Happy birthday, Tess, by the way. Hogan Andre, Andy. I know that's a little bit tough because it's a little outside of our generation, but I mean, Andre was a beloved talent, a beloved character, a beloved attraction around the world. And if it wasn't for, you know, dirt sheets and tape traders and magazines and what have you, nobody would know that Andre actually was heel at one point, had been slammed, had faced Hogan, and wasn't undefeated. But that's not the narrative that the WWF presented to you. All that to say, Andy, that was a very impactful turn and set up 93,000 in the Silverdome.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very comparable comparison. Like, I think it's absolutely right in a lot of ways. I think the only difference is how long Cena was a babyface for before he turned heel again. Like, obviously, we know Cena was a heel during his early years and everything, but once he turned face, he never went back and stayed the whole way. So I think that's the main reason why him and Hogan are getting compared with their heel turns, is just because how long they were on top of the game and how long they were baby faces in the game. But again, I think the Hogan or the Andre comparison is spot on as well. Did you see? I'm sure you did, but did you see the list that WWE released of their top 25 heel turns of all time?
I didn't dive into it. We probably should on this show. I didn't dive into it. I did see they put Cena 1 and Hogan NWO number 2.
It's bad.
Well,
it's
WWE's greatest factions or whatever, they put the New Day at number 1, is atrocious as well. So it doesn't surprise
That's
me.
more comparable than Becky turning heel on Charlotte at SummerSlam being in the top 10.
No, listen, low key.
She was not a heel when she turned.
Low key, she tried to be. She absolutely tried, and it didn't work. But I think WWE's point, I'm a shill. Just call me that. Drop it in the chats. I'm a shill. That's fine. But what that led to for Becky is huge. I'm not saying it's top 10 because again, I haven't dove into the full list. I'm not gonna say it has to be top 10, but that's more impactful than initially thought if you're just looking at it. I think.
Yeah, but the moment itself is not top 10. I think if we're looking at everything, do what?
The pop she got when it happened?
Right, it's a heel turn. It's not a face turn.
That's because everybody hates Charlotte, though.
Yeah, but even when Cena turned, there were a lot of boos afterwards.
And that's I guess.
So I don't know. They also have Dominic turning on Ray at like number 5.
Yeah, that one was a little high for me, but again,
It was a moment. It was a big moment. Yeah.
and let's give some context. Aside from like John Cena turning and the occasional Rock popping in, who's the number one heel in the business or in WWE?
Him and Logan Paul
and Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
But like, think Dominic Mysterio is up there. Nobody gets heat like Dominic Mysterio.
That's true. That's
so
true.
I'm just saying. Again, we have several weeks to talk about this. We have several weeks to dive into this. 40 days approximately till WrestleMania. But Andy, one more quick thing. Cody Rhodes cuts a mean promo, dude. That promo on SmackDown, it's like I wanted to run through a brick wall when he finished that promo. It's like, let's freaking go, man. There is no doubt that this dude is the face of the company.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the way that the passion that he just brings in his promos, is like, I don't even know who I could compare it to in a lot of ways. I think his passion that he brings, his realism that he brings when he cuts promo, you feel every word that he says. And you feel every emotion. Like, I don't know, sometimes, especially when he first returned, he got a lot of flack for crying every time he cut a promo. But that's just the emotion coming out in him. And even in the promo on Friday, you could tell in character that it hurt him that Cena turned on him. And you conveyed that emotion, but then it turned into anger at the end. And that's what I really loved, is he is channeling that going in after Cena. His role is not to try to bring Cena back to the light. His role is to punish him now for turning on him. And I think that's an amazing story to tell. His promo tonight on Raw was just as good. And so, yeah, right now, when it comes to promos, him and Punk are untouchable. There's nobody even close to their level.
Until you put a microphone in the Tribal Chief's hand. And then we're getting there.
Close. Yeah.
If you had that list, pull it back up real quick. Bryce is in the chat and wants to know where they put the barbershop turn. Of course, the classic Shawn Michaels heel turn. I think late 91. 4. Okay. And what was 3?
The top 10 is Cena turns on Cody, Hogan joins the NWO, Seth turning on the Shield.
Okay. And then barbershop.
Sean and Marty, Dominic. They have Xavier and Kofi turning on Big E at 7 or 6. Jimmy turning on Jay at 8, Nikki turning on Brie at 9, and then Triple H attacking Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam with Randy Orton cashing in at 10.
Yeah, I got
see what I mean?
I got problems after 5. I got problems.
See what I mean? It gets bad. They have, and this might just be me. They have Mark Henry's fake retirement at like 19 or 20.
Yeah, that's trash. And I'm not a big Mark Henry fan, but that's trash.
That moment is like it's his best moment in his career. It's amazing.
I'm not going to get into this. Regardless, Jared said he's going to bring some Big Tom energy in his video that he sent to us. Let's bring that Big Tom energy and tell you about our friends at SportsWire.
Looking for all the latest happenings in the world of sports and wrestling? Well, you're in luck, because SportsWire Radio has you covered 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year, with great shows in the world of sports, such as the Pinstripe Chronicles, hosted by Uncle Tats, Donald Stewart, and Rob Barrows. New York Baseball Talk with Chris Bazaya and Rob Maraska. The Liftoff Jets, also hosted by Chris Bazaya and Sharman Phillip. Neil Villapiano and the Devil's State of Mind. Randy Dillon's Hockey Fan Chat. In the world of wrestling, SportsWire Radio has you covered with Squared Circle Radio, featuring Chris Belcher, Andy York, and Jared Justice. Those sit-down marks with DB, Primo, AJ, and Michael. A work in progress, featuring the Mayor of Canton, Piles, and Glenn Abbott. You can catch all of these great shows and more anytime, anywhere, and any place via the Listen Live button on SportsWireRadio.org, and you can also catch SportsWire Radio anytime on YouTube at SportsWire Radio 6579 to catch all the latest happenings in the world of wrestling. SportsWire Radio has you covered. It's all sports matters and all wrestling matters here on SportsWire Radio. I am your host, the owner of SportsWire Radio, the #1 global radio station, the owner of the Promo Wrestling Federation, and one of the owners of the the Pride Wrestling Federation, your voice, figuratively and literally, where all wrestling matters, the Reverend Tom Bryce.
Love that, dude. Appreciate your support, Tom. All the crew over at Sports Wire Radio. Great coverage, not only wrestling, but Tom ran through it over there. So just go check it out. Hit that listen live button, sportswireradio.org. All right, a couple of quick hitters to get to from SmackDown, and then one thing that is just making my skin crawl in the world of wrestling that I cannot wait to get Andy's take on. Here you go. Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest. Seemingly that's where we're headed for WrestleMania. Andy, this is kind of a touchy situation because a lot of people don't feel like that Drew is getting put in a good spot here after such a great year last year. But let's not forget that Damian Priest beat Drew McIntyre for the World Championship at WrestleMania. That's an easy callback there. My hiccup with this whole thing, Andy, is this is a situation where both guys need a big win on a big platform, and somebody's got to lose. And I don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah. This is one of the ones that when we talked about a couple weeks ago, like this was the direction they're heading in, and it's not favorable for either guy. It's just not a feud that I think a lot of people care about seeing in a lot of ways. And nothing against Damian, nothing against Drew. Like both those guys are amazing and they are fantastic. But I think we want to we should see them in something different, whether it's a mid-card title, whether it's, LA Knight versus Drew McIntyre for the U.S. title is really very exciting and something that I think a lot of people will want to see. So I don't know. It doesn't feel like they're going to mesh well. So I'm curious to see where we go, but it's disappointing for both of these guys at WrestleMania in a way.
Yeah. I can definitely see that too. I'm interested to see how they build it over the next 5 weeks or so. To me, Troll says, yeah, Mark Henry's Salmon jacket was top 5. Yes, it definitely was. Speaking of that U.S. championship, it changed hands this past Friday on SmackDown as LA Knight defeated Shinsuke Nakamura. I'm kind of I don't know how I feel about this, Andy. I feel like LA Knight and that U.S. championship just kind of belong together, but I was really enjoying what Shinsuke was doing. Like this new revamped Dark Samurai version of Shinsuke, it was really resonating with me, and I love the presentation of it. I don't know that I like him dropping the title, but again, LA Knight having it just works.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels like him winning the title was just for nothing. And I don't know what the plan was post him winning. But yeah, I when it happened, and I love LA Knight. I think, like you said, him and LA Knight and the US title go hand in hand. I think it's a great combination, especially going into WrestleMania. I think that's a great way to get hype behind it. But just poor Nakamura. It feels like every time he takes 2 steps forward, he gets shoved 10 steps back. And I don't blame him at all. Like he resonates with the crowd. He gets everything he does, he gets over in a way because of how good he is in the ring. And it doesn't seem like he gets anything for it in a way. So I hate it for him. Yeah,
I know. I do too. To me, Troll's back at it again, talking about Mark Henry's jacket. I heard it was a cover for someone's car before he got it. Oh, Lord.
That's rough.
Oh my goodness. I think that to me, Troll and Aaron Grisham are related. Let's just call it what it is, right? Speaking of promos, we talked about how great Cody's promos were. A guy that we didn't give enough love to last week, Andy, for his return was Randy Orton, returning at the Elimination Chamber, the Legend Killer back in action. Really good promo on Friday, talking about how Pat McAfee is going to be the second best punter in the WWE, which is just so good. It's fantastic, man. I love Randy, and I love the perspective that he gave us on Kevin Owens as we build towards this match that needs a stipulation at WrestleMania. Speaking of stipulations, but I love the way he laid out that promo and the perspective he gave. I thought it was really, really cool.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Randy's always good at cutting promo. The thing we talk about all the time is when Randy Orton cares, there's not many better than him. And that's been the case a lot more recently. It seems like he's cared a lot more since he's returned. Which, by the way, every time he returns, something else massive happens. Because the first time it was Punk, this time it's Cena turning heel. So whenever he returns the third time, who knows what could happen.
I mean, he's got 3. We'll have 3 returns. Roman 3 returns. Like it just, I don't know.
Something crazy happens.
We're stacking up to Michael Jordan and the Wizards again.
But Randy does a great job of making you believe and like making you realize how much of a threat he is. And this is the perfect time for them to bring back the punt. Like the punt versus the package pile driver going into WrestleMania is the story. And let it be the story and let them set it up. I don't mind if before WrestleMania Kevin hits Randy with another package pile driver. Like have that kind of go into it. Randy kind of beat up, and then he gets into WrestleMania, and that mode just kicks in, and his anger takes over. But this. If any match at WrestleMania needs a stipulation, this is at the very top of that list.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah, for sure. Like I think a thing, you said Kevin could hit him with the package pile driver. The way you can easily set that up is have Randy miss a punt. Like think back to 2009 and the fact that Randy was such a killer in 2009 and the punt was so devastating in 2009. Oh, yeah. Andy, imagine the crowd cheering for the punt, like wanting the punt to happen, and the anticipation of if he missed one on the way to WrestleMania, like the anticipation of him hitting it at WrestleMania. Oh, dude. And then arguably no better dance partner for him than Kevin Owens. Like putting those 2 dudes together, give me a street fight or a Falls Count Anywhere or something between these guys. Just let them cook, man.
Yeah. Let them go at it. Let them do their thing. Let them just kill it. And, of course, I completely forgot about this until you were just talking about it. Because I was thinking, we haven't seen the punt since like 2011 when he did it to Nexus. We did it during the pandemic when nobody was there. Because I remember that was like his whole thing is he like punted Ric Flair and Big Show. Basically, everybody he punted went to AEW. So I think that was
Christian too, yeah.
And Matt Hardy.
Right.
So I think the first time we get it back in front of fans has to be at the culmination of the match at WrestleMania. And like you said, it's going to it'll rival a top 10 pop of the night easily when he does it.
Did he get Edge before fans went away? I feel like
he had the concerto. That's what he did to Edge.
Oh, that's right. He got and
he RKO'd Beth.
He got Beth. Right.
Yeah.
Couldn't remember if he got Edge or not. Okay.
Because I think the reason why they did the punt during the pandemic is because they could shoot it a certain way and angle it a certain way, and same reason why they caught the Fiend on fire during the pandemic.
or did they? That being said, what an error. Andy, I thought as we get ready to close up here, we got one more thing to get to. I thought the other day about watching some pandemic era stuff, just to be like, because I just want to go back and re-experience it and just see. Because, honestly, the wrestling is probably pretty good. It's just not something we can digest because it's not what we're used to.
We need to do a watch along and go back and watch obviously the first one that comes to mind was the Priest Miz zombie match thing.
Oh boy.
And see how bad that acts because it was horrible when I haven't seen it since. I've not gone back and watched it since. So I want to see if it's as bad as we remember. But then there was some decent ones. I mean, Roman and Jay inside Hell in a Cell happened there too. So I think it'd be really interesting to see perspective now on some of these.
Low key, one that you forget about is Seth Rollins versus Dominic Mysterio. SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Dude.
Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens at WrestleMania.
Yeah. Kevin Owens
jumped off the big sign.
Yeah. Jumped off the sign. Still can't believe they fit that big sign in the Performance Center, but nonetheless, I digress. One more thing that we have to get to. And Andy, maybe it's the fanboy coming out in me, but it makes my skin crawl. Did you see Vince Russo's asinine comments about Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae?
No, I try to stay away from Vince Russo as much as possible.
Oh, listen, Andy, I try to do it as well, but this one just got me. It came up and I couldn't look away. So I have to tell you because it drives me insane. Vince Russo says, and I'm paraphrasing, I'm not exact quoting because I wouldn't be able to add enough bros into what I do. Vince Russo said that Johnny Gargano doesn't belong on any WWE show whatsoever. Then he went on to say that it's even worse that his wife, Candace, should not be on a show either because she's never going to be a star. Now,
Does he give a reason?
no,
You could probably guess the reason.
exactly. Now, come on. Like, I get that Candice LeRae is never going to be pushed like Charlotte Flair or Tiffany Stratton or what have you. I fully embrace that. Okay. But to say that her and Johnny don't even belong on the show, like Vince Russo has said after he turns, I think 65, he's going to stop watching WWE. Bro, you should have stopped a long time ago because that is just, it's ridiculous to think that those two don't belong on a WWE show.
How tall do you think Johnny Gargano is?
I've got a picture. I can't show it. I think he's 5'9" at best.
Okay. He's 5'10".
Okay, 5'10". Okay, there you go.
Do you know who's 5'11"?
No.
Arguably one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, AJ Styles is 5'11".
Is he really? He's not 6 foot?
5'11". Nope, he is 5'11".
I was going to say, I got a picture with him too, and I don't feel like he's that much taller. I feel like he was taller than Johnny, but maybe he's wearing boots or something. I don't know.
Maybe. But, like, in the 90s, not even the 90s, because, like, Austin wasn't that big. Like, he was a muscly dude, but he wasn't.
He was 6'2".
Right, which is like Cena's height, which is not that. I mean, it's like, what, 4 inches taller than than Johnny?
John and
So,
Brett
like,
were like 6 foot even.
Exactly. So, like, the height does not matter anymore in wrestling. There's a reason why Adam Cole is as loved as he is. He's not the tallest in the world, but he's so good in the ring. Johnny's the same way. Like, that whole argument, that whole old school mentality that you have to be a certain size and you have to be a certain height and you have to do this and do that and blah, 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 and whatever is the dumbest tradition in wrestling and is the dumbest mindset in wrestling.
All right, here we go. I'm going to read the quote. Ready? This is Vince Russo. This is from Sportskeeda's Riding with Russo. So this is directly the place that he does his show for. So I'm not taking anything out of context here. He said, let's concentrate one more time on who we're going with and let's cut the fat. If it's me, I hate to pick on her. I really do hate to pick on her, but let's be honest. Shawn Michaels fell in love with Johnny Gargano. Gargano shouldn't be on the show. And if it's not bad enough, his wife is on the show. That girl is never going to be a star. She's never going to be over in a million years. So I know that. So you know what? We kind of need to eliminate that. Exact quote.
You know who I'm going to trust a lot more than Vince Russo when it comes to eyeing talent in wrestling?
Shawn Michaels.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
That's just, I'm trying to think of how to word this without putting us in heat with somebody.
That's okay. I don't care.
It's like old school guys like him and Kevin Nash kill me. They kill me because yes, the way you think in wrestling was the way to do things during that time. Not anymore. Like, things have changed for a reason. Things are different for a reason. And you know what? Vince Russo had like a 2-month window when he was okay at booking, and he has been horrible. Everything he's touched has been horrible. So he has no right to have any opinion on wrestling.
Let's be honest. The Attitude Era we look at with rose-colored glasses, and he was a big part of the writing staff, but it wasn't that good.
No, it wasn't.
It's just not.
I don't know. I put him up there with guys like Hogan and Nash and stuff on some of the things they say as just, you're an idiot. Like, you are an absolute idiot.
I'm glad that it's dumbfounded you as much as it dumbfounded me. So I'm glad that I've.
It doesn't surprise. Like, the bad thing is, it doesn't surprise me.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. So dumbfounded is the wrong word.
Yeah. We're also talking about the guy that put the world title on David Arquette. So, you know.
That was Tony Schiavone's idea, though. But
was it?
Yes, it was. It was Tony Schiavone's idea. They were apparently in a production meeting, and Tony goes, "What if we just put the title on Arquette?" And then
Russo went with it.
Great idea. Let's go. Okay, same guy that had a Judy Bagwell on a pole match.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Was he behind Katie Vick too?
No, surprisingly.
It's probably Vince.
Absolutely. It was.
That's one of those two guys fingerprints all over it. There's either Russo or Vince.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Well, listen, let's try to end this show on a good note. Again, I just wanted to touch on this because,
as mad
again,
as you are.
maybe I'm fanboying here because I like Johnny and Candace so much, but daggum, come on.
No.
It's ridiculous. All right. If you're new to the channel, make sure that you like the video. Make sure you subscribe. Drop those comments either during the live show or afterwards. Again, we got lots of comments throughout the week. Last week, we appreciate that so much. We respond to each and every one of those. Follow if you're listening on podcast, but we would really appreciate you hopping on over the YouTube channel and joining the audience there. Shout out to SportsWire Radio and Wrestling Society Network, our great partners. Next week, Andy, we mentioned a few minutes ago, Raw is at 3 p.m. Eastern time on Monday. Now, it's cool because we're actually getting live. It's not taped. It's not any of that. I wonder what they're going to do with SmackDown, but we'll figure that out as that gets closer. Next week, Monday Night Raw, we're not going to go live directly after Monday Night Raw like we normally would because we're going to be working. We have a live that we can't just drop for this podcast. That being said, we're going to go up around our normal time. So it will be around 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central, somewhere around there. I will try to keep you guys updated on social media, but it will still be during the evening time like we normally would. So make sure you're tuned in right here. Braun Breaker versus Finn Balor for the Intercontinental title next week. Should be a lot of fun. Cena and Cody under one roof. Andy, the thumbnail says that WrestleMania, the road is heating up. I expect SmackDown to be huge this week. It's the time to be locked in.
It's the time to be locked in for a lot of things right now too. I mean, we're heading into March. We're heading into March Madness. We have the SEC tournament this week. We've got brackets coming out Sunday. It's if you're a college basketball fan and a wrestling fan, it is a very stressful time of the year right now. So, but it's listen, I wouldn't change it for anything. I'm on the road. I'm on the ride. I'm ready to have my heart broken by both wrestling and basketball, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
Well, listen, you can bank on it because it's going to happen on both.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of, we should do some sort of bracket for March here in the next episode or so. We'll get something figured out. We'll work on something cool and do some sort of bracket there. That'll be a whole lot of fun. All right. We appreciate you guys joining us. For Mr. Jared Justice, who dropped some knowledge in there in the middle of the show. For Mr. Andy York, my name is Chris Belcher. This has been yet another edition of Squared Circle Radio Live. We appreciate you guys being with us, and we will catch you down the road.